Hey, welcome back to Top Agent Training. I am Kurt with Inspections Over Coffee, and I want to talk briefly about avoiding the wrong inspection company. And I want to be careful here. This is always a conundrum that I deal with, right? How do I say that the other companies aren't doing it as great as we are without sounding like I'm bashing them? And how do I say that we're doing things that nobody else is doing without sounding braggy? So hopefully I toe that fine line today where I talk about some of the mistakes that I see the inspection world making, and how we handle them as a company. And you can make your own decision from that. So if your office, your real estate agency has preferred vendors, do they support you? Do they take you to happy hour? Are they there to answer questions even on jobs they didn't participate in? Do they provide trainings for you? If you had a, let me think, if you had a roofing company give some advice on a buy side on one of your listings, can you go to your preferred roofer and say, hey, can you give me a piece of advice on this? And they're not going to be all bent out of shape because it doesn't mean work for them. It doesn't mean revenue for them. They're just there as a resource for you. And then when they speak to you, let's just say they come to one of your sales meetings, do they talk about themselves or do they talk about like your needs and your clients' needs? Because I spend time teaching franchisees how to go out into the real estate world and introduce what we do. And I tell everybody, you have to keep the focus. Like, yeah, there's all this stuff that we do, but nobody cares what we do. What they care about is what does it mean to them. So when I say we do thermal imaging, well, that's great, but who cares, right? The reality is what that means is you've been through sales training, feature benefit, right? Feature is we do thermal imaging. The benefit to you and your client is we're going to find hidden water leaks, hidden electrical problems, and hidden missing insulation. Now you're like, oh, well, I like that. So it's important that even just the messaging, like usually when I see an inspection company get up in front of a group of realtors and speak, the first thing they do is bash some other inspector where they got called in and said, well, you didn't know all those things and I came in and I saved the day. So it's my opinion that you want to avoid what I call big pants inspectors. Let me tell you how this is going to go. You don't want the smartest guy in the room. You want the person who's going to make your client feel confident with their financial decision in the house. And that doesn't mean that the decision to move forward. Maybe so much got uncovered that you guys didn't realize was there. Foundation issues, if there's a crawl space, maybe there's tons of structural damage and mold damage, and you're like, man, thank God they found that. Now I can make a good financial decision. But if that same inspector is also scaring them, or recently, top realtor said I had an experience with another company and they refused to look at the kitchen appliances. They didn't look at the washer and dryer. And they told my client that they should just get the cheapest air filter they should. And I was like, well, first of all, like none of that's, look, it's not a state requirement in any states that I know of. It's not a NACHI or ASHI requirement to look at the appliances, although we do, not to talk about us. But you should never be giving like air filter recommendations. Like, why would you even have an opinion about that? I heard another realtor say that they had to stop working with an inspector because the guy was like bashing his clients over the head with like really strong political views. And I don't even know which direction they were in, but it kind of doesn't matter. Like, it's not the time and place for that. Like, you could feel however you want. Some people over here, some people over here. You know, why would you alienate whichever half, you know, you're not leaning towards? It just doesn't, it's not professional. So the thing to really do is look at online reviews, okay? As you're a realtor, you're probably trying to get online reviews for yourself. So you know how difficult they can get. So you want to see companies that for the time period that they've been in business, it had like an impressive number of reviews. If they've been in business 15 years and they have like 17 reviews, that's probably not great. If they have an average of like under 4.8 or 4.9, that's probably not great news. I know there's one large company, they're at like 4.0, 4.1. But apparently the owner's really likable. But it sounds like maybe the training isn't there because not everybody's doing everything the way that the real estate world wants. So I think that, and speaking of that, I think that that's kudos to that owner because people still will work with them. That means they feel like they could probably go to that owner, talk about the problem they had, and he or she will at least have an open door about it. And we do the same thing. If there's ever a problem, again, I've told you before, I'm trying to create the Starbucks of home inspections. So I want it done the same way every single time. So if there's ever a problem or there's feedback, we're like, hey, that didn't work out perfectly. I want to know that, because then I'll disseminate, if there's a new, better way to do things, we disseminate that out to our hundreds of inspections across the country that happen every month. And we give that feedback to everybody, and then all the boats rise and we all get better. So we always have an open door policy. So reviews are important, referrals are important. Some of the things that are out there that you might not know if you're a newer agent. Thermal scanning of the whole house, that should be a must. You really want to work with a company that's full service, sewer scopes, termites, mold, and not just mold sampling. There'll be another training on that, but don't work with an inspector who has a pump and basically forwards you lab results. That's junk. You want to work with somebody that has someone in the office who can handle your problems, because if it's just an inspector and there's no one there and they're in the middle of inspection and they're busy inspecting and then they're busy talking to the people buying the house, it's gonna be hours before your problem gets solved. That's no good. So hopefully those are some pointers. There might be more down the road, but those are just some thoughts off the top of my head that in ways that you can avoid the wrong inspection company. And then I'm not gonna like go over and over and over again, but you should watch the training about not recommending, like not using a company that uses confusing reports, because that's a whole nother thing that I could talk about. You want reports with videos, photos, color coding, easy to use, not room by room. You want all the electrical issues into the electrical section so that you can hire an electrician and go, hey, these are the 6 items we'd like fixed, not you having to disseminate, basically doing surgery on an 80-page PDF and then putting all back together like a puzzle and going, okay, here's the 6 electrical things, I finally found them. So watch that training if you get the chance. But that being said, thanks for watching this training, and we'll see you on the next one.